What if I told you that a single business deal, a multi-billion-dollar deal, could actually reveal the entire future of the AI revolution? Well, today, that's what we're doing. We're going to follow the money, and you'll see the story it tells is about this massive, fundamental shift in how our entire world is going to be powered.
All right, let's dive right in. It all starts with this number right here, $2 billion. This is the investment that really sent shockwaves through the tech world. And honestly, it's the key to understanding this whole next phase of AI.
And this isn't just any old investment, right? This is a single, super strategic bet from Nvidia, the undisputed king of AI chips. And let's be real, a company like that does not place a $2 billion wager unless they are absolutely certain about the outcome.
But here's where it gets really interesting. The story isn't just the amount of money, it's who got the check. The money went to a company that was literally born from the ashes of Russia's biggest tech giant, and it has this fascinating, geopolitically charged backstory. So let's unpack this thing and figure out what it really means for the future of AI.
Okay, first things first, let's set the stage. To really get this deal, you have to understand the core problem that's driving everything. The global AI boom has created this near-infinite hunger for one thing: raw computing power.
So the solution that's emerging is this totally new concept, the AI factory. We're moving way beyond your traditional data centers. These aren't just buildings full of servers anymore. We're talking about massive, gigawatt-scale facilities, engineered from the ground up specifically for the insane demands of AI. And the scale we're talking about here, it's almost hard to wrap your head around. According to the International Energy Agency, the electricity needed to power the world's data centers is projected to more than double by 2030. And you guessed it, AI factories are the #1 reason for that surge.
So this leads us to a really critical question. With this mind-boggling demand, who is actually going to build these new AI factories? And that, right there, brings us back to the deal that started this whole explainer, Nvidia's $2 billion investment in a company called Nebius. Now, this isn't just Nvidia handing over a big bag of cash. No, this is a deep strategic partnership. Nvidia provides the capital, and in return, Nebius has committed to deploying over 5 gigawatts of Nvidia systems. They're going to be collaborating on everything, from the factory design itself to getting early access to the next generation of hardware. Nvidia's CEO, Jensen Huang, he frames this whole thing as a response to the next big wave in AI. He calls it agentic AI. So think about an AI that doesn't just respond to a prompt you give it, but can actually take actions, solve problems with multiple steps, and basically operate way more autonomously. That kind of intelligence, it's going to require a whole new level of computational power. But the story of Nebius itself, that's what makes this deal so unique. Seriously, this is not your typical Silicon Valley startup. Its origins are tied directly to one of the biggest geopolitical events of our time. So Nebius is basically the international successor to Yandex, which you might remember as Russia's Google. After the 2022 invasion of Ukraine, the company went through this incredibly complex 2-year restructuring. It sold off all its Russian assets and then rebranded its international AI-focused divisions into this new independent company based in Amsterdam, which we now know as Nebius.
The story of Nebius, though, it's not just some one-off corporate drama. It's actually a perfect example of a major trend that's reshaping the entire cloud computing landscape. They're part of this new class of company that is purpose-built to challenge the old guard. People are calling them neoclouds, and unlike the traditional cloud providers that try to be everything to everyone, these companies have a laser focus on one thing: providing the raw, high-performance GPU power that modern AI models are desperate for.
So how are they really different from the giants, like Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud? Well, it all comes down to specialization. The hyperscalers, they offer this massive catalog of general-purpose services. Neoclouds, they strip all that away to focus on providing elite access to the latest GPUs, and they often do it with simpler, more transparent pricing.
And that focus, it translates into some serious savings. According to a study by the Uptime Institute, running the exact same high-end Nvidia GPU workload can be up to 66% cheaper on a neocloud than on a traditional hyperscaler. That is a game-changing difference.
Okay, so let's zoom out again, because this $2 billion deal with Nebius, it isn't some isolated event. Not at all. It's actually part of a much larger and, for some people, pretty controversial playbook that Nvidia is running. This whole strategy has led to a pretty pointed question, often described with the term circular financing. Basically, people are asking, is Nvidia just investing a ton of money into companies so they can turn right around and buy Nvidia's own products? The Nebius deal is no outlier. It is part of a very clear pattern. Nvidia has invested billions into another cloud provider, CoreWeave. They contributed to a $30 billion round for OpenAI. They've committed up to $10 billion for Anthropic. And what do all these companies have in common? They're Nvidia's biggest customers. So that capital flows out from Nvidia, and then it flows right back to buy more of Nvidia's chips. It creates this powerful self-reinforcing cycle.
Now, people see this dynamic in two very different ways. Some folks question if it's just a way for Nvidia to artificially manage demand for its products. But others see it as a brilliant strategic move. Think about it. Nvidia isn't just selling the picks and shovels for the AI gold rush. It's actively funding the miners to make sure the entire ecosystem grows up around its technology.
But this whole digital explosion, all these AI factories, these neoclouds, fueled by these massive investments, it is running headfirst into one very physical, very real-world problem.
This number, 33%. That represents the estimated average annual growth in demand for AI-ready data center capacity all the way through 2030. That kind of exponential growth requires an absolutely staggering amount of one critical resource, electricity.
And here's the fundamental problem. As this quote makes crystal clear, our current power grids, they just weren't built for this kind of demand. We're facing huge challenges. Aging substations, not enough transmission lines, and permit timelines for new energy projects that can take years and years.
And so, that leaves us with the final and most critical question that underlies this entire revolution. We're building this incredible silicon and this world-changing software at an exponential rate. But the ultimate bottleneck, the next great challenge for the age of AI, might just be figuring out how to keep the lights on.